Howdy everyone, Kamisma here. Here to talk my review of Batman The Dark Knight Rises. And a nice little note here of the issues I have taken with the movie. And I will discuss it. Try to be on order from which they appear in the movie as much as possible. So let's get into it. My very first issue in the movie came when Bane finally got a hold of the city and got the Lucius Fox, Talia together, and one other board member, and they go down to where the nuclear reactor is, and they bring in the scientists, and he turns the reactor into a neutron bomb. Now, the issue with it is like, okay, it's like, I don't know how he could do it. He's not the one who designed it, at least I don't think he is in the movie. But my real issue is the people who, he never actually built it, Wayne Corp built it. And when you figure out later in the movie that it has a freaking timer on it, it's like, why does this core have a timer on it? As if it's like an actual time bomb. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And it's like, to me, it's like, I just didn't really understand how he could just walk up to the damn thing and just suddenly arm it and turn it into a weapon. Just by, it's a freaking reactor. And suddenly he turns it into a bomb. I'm like, how you do that? And he had no tools. None whatsoever. All he had was his hands. Yet somehow he's able to turn a freaking reactor into a goddamn bomb. I'm like, it made no sense to me. I did not like that scene. And the very important scene in there too, because that's when Bane tells you that by his calculations, it'll take about 5 months for it decays. But the thing is, you find out about that earlier when they first ever reveal the fucking reactor, that if they remove it from the stabilizing frame, that it would decay and anyway. So they didn't really need a scientist because it was going to decay and detonate on its own if it wasn't inside the freaking base, within a couple of months. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and I did not like it. Of course, we all know about the actual ending of the movie, and we'll get to that last, and because that's also a little bit of it too. I'm just going to go on to Bane. Now, Bane's character in the movie was pretty badass, especially in the opening, when he basically took down he gave himself up and to be on the plane in order to take the scientists back, and the whole thing was just insane. Of course, through the entire movie, they make you think that he was born in a prison, and that he, by his own will and muster, escaped by climbing to freedom. And then became a member of the League of Shadows, got excommunicated from them, and then now has this almost, like, not quite religious following, but these people are incredibly loyal to a point of almost zealotry. It's insane. So the entire movie, this is what they do. This is what they tell you. He was born in prison. He knew no light. That's all he knew. And he escaped on his own. And then, like, within the last 30 freaking minutes of the movie, they're like, throw that out the window. He was actually the guy protecting the child. Which, like, gives him an actual good person quality. Because he protected an innocent. You know? It's like, I mean, yeah, I don't know why he didn't. It's like, he protected the child. It's like, so he's not all bad now. Which I think is the craziest thing. But whatever. It's like, but he's not the one. It was actually Talia who was born in the prison and escaped, who happened to be Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And if you ever know anything about Batman, that's who she is. But so she's the one born there. She's the one that escapes. She goes to the League of Shadows. She joins up with them. She gets all the training in the welfare. She comes back, saves Bane, and Bane gets part of it. Ra's al Ghul doesn't like Bane, so he kicks him out. And and there's also, so this is the twist implications, is that now that Talia is revealed, which they kind of foreshadowed that she was when Bruce Wayne and her were getting it on, and they zoomed in on a scar on her back. I was like, yep, they wouldn't be putting that out unless she was evil, which I thought was just bad storytelling. It was bad visual storytelling. But so the twist implications is that now that she's the one who escaped the prison, not Bane, that she is the leader of the League of Shadows, not Bane, and she had all the resources and she had all the training before Bane from the League of Shadows. She is the true mastermind of this actual entire story. She's the one who planned it. She's the one who had the ideas. She's the one who gave the orders. Bane was an underling, basically. I mean, they may have been partners because the way she looked at him at some times was like, but it's like, it threw a lot of Bane's character out the window. Because no longer is he truly like the badass who broke out of the prison, who Bruce Wayne happened to do himself. It's like, because let's talk about that first fight between Batman and Bane. Now, the reason I didn't like this fight, for a very specific reason, is that it made Bane look like incredibly powerful and badass. But if you think about the condition that Bruce Wayne was in when he was as Batman in that scene, you realize that it's not that amazing of a feat. Bruce Wayne was down for 8 years, is missing cartilage in both of his knees and in an elbow. He can barely walk, and he's unpracticed. He hasn't, trained. He hasn't worked out. He hasn't done anything in 8 years. Yet, and so he just gets right back into the Batman outfit. He's not going to be able to defeat someone who is on the front line all the time. Even with, and think about it, they have the same training. Bane's combat training was given to him by the League of Shadows when he was a member, same as Bruce Wayne. So they have equal training, but Bane has been on the front line for the whole time. He's not unpracticed like freaking Bruce Wayne was. So of course Bane was gonna kick his ass. It was a given. It was like there was no way Bruce Wayne was gonna beat Bane in that original scene. There was no chance whatsoever. It was just simple math, really. Human math, whatever. So Bane breaks Batman back, just like the original story. Batman gets the whole. Bane uses the whole, use hope as torture concept on Batman, which was a good idea. That was actually really nice, and because that's fucked up. And then Bruce Wayne gets his back fixed while in the prison, which I think is just completely crazy. That it just happens to happen that way. He comes back. But he doesn't break Bane's back, which is like the actual original mythos of Batman. It's like Batman's back was broken by Bane. And then he came back, got healed up, came back, and he broke Bane's back. But not in the movie. And like, oh well. I was a little disappointed in that. But it's like, then we get to the big point about Bane though. What is with his mask? Now, the reason why he wears the mask is because his face got fucked up while he was in prison. By when he was trying to protect Talia, and all the prisoners fuck with her, and the doctor messed up his face. But it's like, what does the mask actually do? Because apparently he's very uncomfortable for him without it. But what does it actually do? I mean, you don't see anything on it that really does anything. It just kind of made him like a Darth Vader, where he could still breathe. He'll just be in a lot of pain without it. And it was like, of course, they kind of made him like a Darth Vader to begin with, because like Talia would basically be the Emperor. It was just exactly the feel I got from the whole thing. So that's that part. And like, let's go on to the ending, shall we? The ending of the movie, as we all know, is Batman uses the Bat. What a horrible name for the plane. With a rotary thing, whatever. To fly the core of the fusion reactor out to the bay to explode instead of destroying all of Gotham. And Catwoman's like, so you're just gonna have it fly out and escape before it goes off? And he's like, no, there's no autopilot. I have to do it manually. And so they kiss, and he goes off and takes care of it. And boom, he's dead. Everybody's sad. New statue of Batman, everything. And then you see Lucius Fox. Now this is what we're saying is right then, after the whole burying of, not really burying him. There's nothing left of him if he blew up in a neutron bomb. But, the whole funeral procession with Alfred. Why they should have just ended the movie right there, just like that. But no, next they go to Lucius Fox, and they ask, what could he have done to fix the autopilot in the Bat? And they're like, it's been fixed for 6 months. I was like, oh, great. So the incredibly deep possible storyline of the ending is lost now. Because think about it. If Batman would have actually willingly have died in the ending of the movie trying to save Gotham City, it'll be playing off of the original part of the movie, the start of the movie, where the whole issue was he's doing this to die. It's like he actually wants to die for some reason. At the opening, it's like he's putting himself in this situation to cause himself harm. And it's like, so it plays off of that, but also plays off the actual giving everything to save Gotham. And it was like a great thing. But in reality, but in the end of the movie, when you find out that the autopilot works, and then they go to the scene with Alfred in frickin' France, I think? And you see him with Selena Kyle, at the frickin' table. It's like, oh great. So we basically just got our, heartstrings tugged for nothing. It's like we got this emotional connection with Batman that he's giving his life to save everyone. And no, that's not the case. It's gone. It's out the window. And I'm like, great. That's fucking lovely. It was just a horrible ending of what they compared to what they could have done. It could have been so much better if they just left that out. Because it was that and Talia's. Both of those things ruined the movie. Because when they introduced Talia, it screwed up the Bane character. It threw way too many questions in the mix of who was actually in charge, who was actually planning everything. And it's like, and the fact that it takes Bane away from the actual born in the prison and is badass because he's the only one who ever escaped, until Batman. It just ruined it. It just ruined it. And since, Bane lived most of his life in a frickin' prison, as the original myth does, his mind and his body are in tune, super in tune. He's really smart because he read books his whole life while he was in prison. But they didn't have his teddy bear. I was a little disappointed in that. But, oh well. You can't have everything, right? I just want something. And then we get to right after the ending, in the actual ending scenes, when they introduce Officer Blake as Robin. Why? There was no reason for him to be Robin. The whole thing about him and Bruce Wayne having a connection because they're both orphans was a good thing. It added something to the movie. Just throwing Robin into his name was a horrible thing to do. I was like, why? Why do we even need to know about Robin? Why do we need him? In this storyline, he's not needed. It's like, so they show him going to the Batcave. It's like, well, so what? Is he going to be a superhero now? Is he going to be Batman? Is he going to be Robin? Is he going to be Nighthawk? I don't know. But of course, this is the ending of the trilogy, and so of course there's no more. It's like, so it was pointless. It was really pointless to throw that in there like that. I believe that's it. I really do. I think that's everything. My gripes on the movie. Now, do I think it's a bad movie? No. It's okay. It's definitely not as good as the first one or the second one. And And it was really, really long. I mean, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. And 2 hours of that was nothing but dialogue. So, it was a little boring at times. Where you're just sitting there and they're just talking to each other. And I'm like, but not all of it's really adding anything to the actual movie. I mean, think a movie like, well, everybody's seen The Avengers. If you're watching this, you've probably seen The Avengers as well. That movie was 2.5 hours. But it was basically an hour and a half of nothing but action. It was insane. And it was awesome. It kept you in it. In Batman, at times I found myself nodding off and not paying attention. And probably caused my poor thought of the movie, but I still retained a lot of it to make this review. So, you know, do watch it. I would suggest go watch it. If you don't care as much about the mythos of Batman, you will love the movie. If you care about it enough, you will take issue with it, but you won't think it's bad. So, that's my review, and have a nice day.